and welcome to Life Hacks with Liv. I'm Olivia, and on this channel, I share adulting life hacks in the areas of health, wealth, and happiness for female entrepreneurs and women in business. Today, I have a special treat for you, and her name is Leann Wolff. She is a human design professional and a BG5 business consultant. With 8 years of experience assisting her clients align with their design, specializing in coaching her clients to live their purpose, create wealth, and build a business with their purpose as the core of every aspect of their lives. She is passionate about educating and empowering her clients to break free from old patterns to be the powerful, unique selves they are designed to be. Thank you so much for coming on here. I'm so excited to do this. This is one of the things I've actually been really interested in. And as a Christian, it's like bad, but I'm like, there's so much to life that why should I cut myself off from it? So I'm like, I'm all in.
Nice. I love that. Thank you, Olivia. I appreciate that you asked me to come and be on your podcast. I love that you just said, you're open, right? Even though you're Christian, you're open. And that's one of the biggest things that the creator of human design wanted to get across, is that this is not a religious affiliation, and it isn't, it's science backed. It's science based. So when we take a look at the big scheme of life, we're all frequency, we're all a vibration. And the human design system, what it does is it utilizes the birth data and provides you with a quick snapshot of really what your frequency and your vibration, what it is. So it's not religious based. It's not, so out there. It's more science actually backed than anything.
And I really appreciate you for getting that out of the way for anybody that questions it. You did clear some things up for me. I didn't think it was religious based, but there's so many things in the world that that people tie to different things.
Yeah.
And you're here to inform and educate and also help other female entrepreneurs know how to align in their businesses by actually explaining all of this stuff. And when you told me, I'm just like, when you did mine, it just fit so well. So I'm so ready to get into this. I want to first start off by talking about you and your design and, just how you got into this. So yeah, just share a little bit about your story.
Sure. Approximately 8 years ago, well, probably 9 now, I had been working in corporate Canada. I was a financial manager at a financial institution, and I did that job for 10 years. And my physical body was just giving me every sign possible to say, no more. You quit driving to this job, quit going to this job. I love the people I worked with. I loved the job that I did, but there was just this nudge. It was just this nudge. My physical body was saying enough. So fortunately, my husband and I had done some financial planning. I had the wherewithal to be able to walk away from that role and take some time for myself. We also own a cattle ranch, so I got to be out in nature and hang out and be with the cows and just take a breath. And one day I just thought, you know what, I need to jump in. I need to do something. I need to be on purpose. I need to have something that's fulfilling me. And I typed into the computer, new age business, and human design is what came to me. Like, what are the chances? Probably zero.
Yeah, because if you don't know what you're looking for, like when you're looking for human design, you're not going to find it. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, it totally is. It totally bumped into me, and I looked at it, and then over the course of about a week and a half, 3 different separate emails came to me from totally unrelated areas that was showing me a little piece of human design. And I'm like, that is so amazing. So I sat down again and I typed in human design, and the original works of Ra Uru Hu, who's the founder of human design, that website came up, and I was like, there it is, there's home. And I jumped in, I bought the book, and for 8 years I studied every aspect of this system. And I use it, I implemented it, I experimented with it, and I coached people with it. And I love it because I see how the amazing transformations that happen when people step into who they are. Yeah.
I love that. And I'll just, share a little bit about like when you looked up
Mhm.
mine, I was just like, you know me. I was like, I mean, because I'm a projector and I keep hearing all of these things from other projectors, and I'm like, they just sound
Mm.
like they are just introverts, and I'm not that. And then it was in there. Like there's so much to your
Yes.
design that
Yeah.
if you don't know, it's time to go to a professional because
Right.
seriously, because it's like there's so much to it than the title, and you can't get caught up in the title if you actually know that.
No.
And that's just what I'm learning. Like if you know just a little bit more about it, you're a lot better.
Yes.
Um, so
Yeah.
can we talk about the
Yeah.
different types of
Mm-hmm.
designs?
100%. Yeah, let's do that. So, Olivia, there's 4 different types. And the 4 different types, basically what the types do is they provide us with a little piece of information on how the auric field around that person works, and then how their strategy to interact with other people, what that strategy is. So we'll just go over them. So for example, yourself, you're a projector. The auric field is very focused, it's very absorbing. So you're here, your big overarching role in this world is to be an advisor, to be a guide, to assist people and help them, find their own passions and purpose and way through life. And with that very focused and absorbing auric field, what's important is that you wait for an invitation. Why? Because it's powerful. You're penetrating into the other person. You get to know them at deep, deep, deep levels. So, waiting for that invitation to then guide people, that is so critical for you. And then once that happens, there's success behind that because they heard you, they were able to adapt to the energy that you're bringing, they were able to hear the advice that you provided, and there's success behind that. But as a projector or an advisor, we call that in the business world, if you're just unsoliciting advice, giving it out here and there, you feel very bitter. People don't hear you. They don't take your advice. And then somebody else walks in and says the exact same thing. And somebody goes, "Oh, wow, you're so brilliant." And you're like, wait a minute. I just said that. Hold on a minute. I just said that. But they didn't hear you because they didn't invite you in. Does that resonate with you?
So much. And you know what? It's something that I've realized, and just in general over like my own personal development. If people don't ask for my advice, like sometimes people just want to vent, and people like to vent to me. So I asked them from the beginning, would you like my opinion? Do you want help with this,
Mm.
or do you just want me to listen? Because I've learned that if I'm not going to give advice if you don't want it. But now with my husband, all right, that man, I'll tell him something, but he needs to hear the same thing from somebody else because I can't tell it to him. I can't.
Yeah.
So I definitely understand, and I've come to accept that you know what? I'm gonna just find somebody else to tell it to you. That's
Yeah.
fine.
And it would be fun, you know what I mean, down the road, Olivia, and sometime, we can take a look at your husband and your chart together and see how that all works. Because what human design also teaches us is a large part of communication and how each type needs to be communicated. So let's just quickly go over the next 3 types so that, and then what I would like to do is like pull up our charts and just play with them so that people can get a visual. So we also have what we call generators or manifesting generators, and their aura is open and enveloping. That type, which is me, we're here to build, we're here to work, we're here to be like the boots on the ground kind of people and use our energy and create on this planet. And that open and enveloping aura, the whole point of it is we're sitting back waiting for people to request our energy. We can't wait for somebody to request it so that we can kick into action and start building and working on whatever it is. Now, we also have what we call the manifestor type. They are innovators. They are here to inform us. They are the great, they're like the cosmic seers. They look out and they say, okay, there's a crack right there. There's a little tiny crack and we need to create something in that space. So they're the ones that kind of initiate a process for us. So their aura is it's closed and it's repelling. And it's not a religious thing, but I'm going to bring in a religious connotation here. I see the manifestor type as Moses, where Moses stood on the bank of the river and opened up the seas, right? And spread that so that humanity could walk across. And that's how I see the manifestors. They see a space, they see a need, and then they create that space so that we can go in and build. Then we also have what we call our reflectors, or they're evaluators in the business world is what we call them. And they are here, like they're the great cosmic mirrors, really. They provide us with a reflection. How are we doing? What's happening? Are we all working together properly or not? And they clarify processes for us so they can come into a business and sit in a workspace and be able to go, this is working or this isn't working, because that's their superpower. And their auric field is what we call sampling. So they're here just to sample, to touch different things and to get a clarification on how everything is working. So those really are the 4 types. And when we put them in a business setting, magic can happen as long as everybody's operating correctly and using their own energy correctly. Yeah.
So with reflectors, because I don't know a lot about them, what are their are they, because I know projectors are good like advisors, but reflectors, are they like the critiquers? Like, what are job titles for them, I guess?
So for me, like they're good assessment people. So they can come in and give you an assessment. So, they could, come in and consult and say you have a safety program and you want to make sure that all areas of that safety program are being implemented. They can come in, they can assess the process and then give you a clarification. This is working or that's not working. So it's kind of like almost like a 2-part series for them, right? They got to come in, they have to assess, and then they bring us the clarification. And then basically they're reflecting back to us what's working, what's not working. Yeah. Does that make sense?
It does. It does, because those are probably the people that are usually better at attention to detail. And that's something that I'm not good at. So I would definitely want one of those people on my team. So
yeah. 100%.
So, that's just how I think about, when you tell me these things, I'm like, I know how I could work with a manifestor. I know how I could work with a generator. My husband's a generator also. Granted, I don't know the details. But I don't know much about reflectors. So that's interesting because those people that I need to find one of those.
So what Ra, what he loved to do was he would bring in at least one reflector into his, when he did in-person workshops, or when he had his, he did events in Ibiza where he had large gatherings. And what he would do is he would sit that reflector in the middle and only have to focus in on that reflector, because that reflector would clarify for him, either these people are getting it or they're not getting it. Am I going over? Everybody's tired. Are they starting to fall asleep? The reflector provides that mirror for us so that we can see what's really happening in the collective space. Yeah.
That is so cool. That is so
Mm-hmm.
cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're powerful beings. Yeah.
So did you want to share my chart
Sure.
and your chart? And that'll be.
So this is your chart.
Okay.
So can you see it on your screen?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. So one of the things that I appreciate while you're having a conversation, one of the things you said is people tell me everything. They come and they vent to me, they talk to me. And that really is what this whole channel of the prodigal is about for you. You are the collector of history. You're here to listen and to make people feel comfortable coming to you to have those conversations. And one of the things that is a very powerful thing that you said is, I asked them, are you here venting? Do you want my opinion? Do you not want my opinion? That's excellent. And I coach all of my projectors or advisors in that same way, because people do just want to vent. Not all the time do they want to be fixed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's important, and I greatly appreciate it. And then
Thank you.
the other thing is this fifth line, your profile. So this is like your public role. This is how people see you. And this fifth line is about being a savior. So they come to you and they're like, oh, I know that she has the solutions, but the overarching strategy of wait for that invitation is still so important.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because if you're giving off that advice and they don't really want it, all of a sudden your reputation takes the brunt of their dissatisfaction.
I also believe,
Get that?
sorry, I also believe
No,
that
go
when
ahead.
people give unwarranted advice, that it, it does make them perceive it like know-it-alls. And a lot of times people don't ask enough questions before they give advice.
Right.
And it's also like it's not as valuable if you're just giving your advice all over the world, and it just isn't as valuable if you don't take the time to listen, see what the problem really is, and then once they ask your opinion, give it. But until then, like, it's just you're just telling all these people this stuff. It does not hold value. So that's why I think
That's,
that.
yeah, for sure. That's your experience. You know that deeply because that's built right into you. It's built right into you. So I find it very beautiful how the human design system, it always proves itself. When I'm having conversations with my clients, it always proves itself. So when you and I initially had a conversation a few weeks ago, it was so fun to watch you go like, really? And then in the introduction, you just said like, I can't believe that you don't know me. Like, did you Google me? Did you, what kind of research did you do on me? Right. And your frequency, what's here on the screen, and for anybody that's on YouTube, you can see this. And if you're going through the podcast, hopefully you'll have the ability to jump onto either Olivia or my YouTube channel to check out the visual of this. But when we see this body graph and the frequency that's here, it's speaking your frequency to me. It's there's no guessing. And then when we have a conversation, I can extrapolate out of there the experiences that you're having and provide you with the wisdom. Okay, well, maybe that was the conditioned mind trying to pull you off game, or that's your true essence trying to shine. Does that make sense to you?
It makes so much sense because it's all I understand, like, this is all about being aligned with the person that you truly are.
Yeah.
And society, since you're born, it's telling you everything you should be and what tearing you away from the person you are. And then until you stop caring about what other people think and just start, actually living in you. And I feel like it's so much harder now with social media being at our fingertips
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
everybody else's opinions and likes and comments are
Mhm.
at our fingertips. Granted, it's not like anybody's saying anything new.
Mhm.
It's the same type of stuff, just different avenues of communication, and I feel like more
Yeah.
of it. That would
Yeah.
be the issue, but it's definitely makes so much sense because it's like it's so hard for us to get aligned and be in with who we are because we have so much self-doubt too with just
Mm.
and I mean, I might just be speaking for myself, but I know that there's other people that deal with self-doubt as well. And yeah, no, this makes total sense. And I think it's so cool. I'm enjoying
Mhm.
learning so much about this.
Yeah, I love it too. And self-doubt is built right into the human design body graph. So um doubt actually in the visual aspect, it's gate 63 is where doubt lies. Now, it's not activated in your body graph, it's not activated in mine, but collectively we can sense that. We can sense the self-doubt. And then what happens is the conditioning of our polarity in the mind will try to make decisions from that self-doubt. And the foundation of the human design system is saying, let's leave the mind out of decision making. And people are going to go like, "Oh, she's crazy. What is she talking about?" But our brains are polarity organs. So they're always saying this and saying that. Always. Think about any decision that you've ever had and the mind will play both sides of the fence and it will constantly say, well, if you could do this, you should have this. If you would do this, you could have that. So it's constantly playing this, or you should stay at home because blah, blah, blah. So what design says is let's leave that polarity organ out of the decision-making game. And let's drop it into the intelligence of our bodies so that we can move and interact from the intelligence of our human meat suit. That's why we came here. We came here to have these human interactions. So why not trust this body to say, this interaction is correct or not? And for you, Olivia, the decision making is what we call splenic. That's your inner authority. And the spleen is very spontaneous. For you, it's intuitive. So it's about trusting that intuitive impulse and moving with that intuitive impulse that happens throughout the body. And then when you do that, when those invitations are presented to you and you trust the spontaneity, what your design is saying is, hey, I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to be safe. I'm going to be able to help people move into their correct behavior. I'm going to help them, be able to accept the diversity of humanity. And I'm going to be able to do that by listening to them and providing them with my empowered breakthrough that I've experienced when they ask me, when they invite me in. And all of a sudden, the interaction is super, super powerful. Does that resonate with you?
Yes, because like I said, it's like me because I'm such a humanitarian. I'm
Yes.
very passionate about um hurricanes and natural disasters.
Mm,
And like I'm thinking about Nicaragua right now. They were hit with two major hurricanes.
mm,
One of which was in the month of November. Crazy, crazy hurricane season this year. And I want to go and volunteer there. But
mm.
yes, it's like I like to hear the people's stories. I like to be on the ground and like actually
Yes.
like help for a certain amount of time. And I also, when I was out of alignment and I had gained a bunch of weight and not been healthy, that was not the life for me. And that's not the life for anybody. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I have COVID right now and I'm recording this and I'm blessed. I'm
Yeah.
blessed, but still, like, you need to be healthy. Like, that is one of the things that I'm so about. So it's like, you hit the nail on the coffin
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. 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 Because your physical body is saying, in order for me to be of service, in order for me to show up, I got to be healthy. So your body is saying, I don't want to go anywhere or do anything if I'm not going to be healthy, because I won't be recognized. And that's a huge part of being a projector. You need to be recognized for your skills, your talents, and your ability to guide. And if you're not healthy, you're not recognized. So
Yeah.
your health and wellness is super important to you.
I don't understand how anybody can tell someone how to do life any type of way, since I'm big on mindset coaching. If I don't mentally have the proper self-discipline,
Mm-hmm.
the proper self-love, and
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not about fat shaming or anything like that. That's not what I'm talking about. But
No,
at the same time, like, if you've got confidence, you also need to have the true confidence to be honest with yourself
that's
and
right.
be like, this is not healthy,
Yeah.
and stop promoting this way of, that way of life. But
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And there's a spectrum of healthy for everyone. And
and I'm not saying everybody needs to be like this,
that's
skinny.
right. That's
I'm
right.
just saying, like, be able to, like, be active 3 times a week. Th-
And
Drink
feel
water.
feel it in your body, right? I think
Yes.
that's the most important. I'm packing around probably an extra 20 pounds, but I feel so healthy and so well in my body that extra 20 pounds, it doesn't bother me. I also live in an area where, like, it's winter, so my body carries that, and I'm okay with it. It's also part of my human design as well to carry a little bit more weight, but really tapping into that health aspect, I think that is so critical. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not like, I've lost like almost 70 pounds.
Wow. Good
So
for
I'm
you.
coming from a point where I was 220 at the age of
Mm,
like 24.
right.
And I'm 5'7".
Okay.
So it's like,
Yeah.
that's why I'm like, like, being
Mm,
this, it wasn't a little 20 pounds. All right. Like, that's not what I'm
right.
saying.
Yeah. 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 And you got to experience that. And that's really what humans get to do, right? We get to have all of those potentials and then align to what is correct for us.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful part.
I feel like I'm on this proper journey. I'm so excited. All right.
Mhm.
What does the
Yeah.
64 in the mind part stand for?
So the 64 is about confusion. So what confusion, we're all designed to have a little bit of confusion when we're stepping into something new. It's like, ooh, how did I get here? Why am I here? A little bit of nervousness, a little bit of confusion. And what you're designed to do is actually assist people through their confusion. So again, it goes back to that channel of the prodigal where you get to listen, you get to hear them, you get to stand true in your health and wellness. You get to really, dive into that diversity and then go, you know, when you're talking to me, these are some things that you get to pull out and guide them on their direction, guide them to their own self-love. But you get to do that by tapping into their confusion. Does that
That
make
is
sense?
yeah, that is so cool.
Yeah.
Like, I that is, because I mean, I get confused sometimes too, but I was like,
Mm-hmm.
confusion. I'm like, but granted, you know what these numbers mean. I have no idea. What? These things are
And
so cool.
you will have a tendency to have confusion because this is a way that you gain wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
But it isn't the confusion that happens for you. Again, it's more so that you can help other people decipher what's happened in their lives. Because what the conditioned mind will go, well, we're confused, so now we got to figure it out. And the conditioned mind will chew on it and try to figure it out and try to figure this out and figure that out. But what design says is just watch that process. Just pay attention to the conversations in the mind. As a mindset coach, you know how this all operates. But drop into the physical body for your own decision making. And then wait, because watch how people come to you and go, I just hate myself because of blah, blah, blah experience. And you can go, whoa, hold on a minute. But didn't you learn this? Didn't you learn that? And you get to extrapolate all the joy and the good stuff out of there. And meanwhile, they walk through that self-hatred so that you could help them come to self-love.
Yes. I don't think that people realize, and it's, yes, yes. People don't realize how serious it is to like talk to how they talk to themselves. When it on the aspect of, the self-hate and how that is definitely one of the bigger problems that we have in our society is how, and we're witnessing this through COVID. I have a friend in Germany right now, and I was asking her how things were going. And she because she's deployed, and she works with 7 people, but they've dropped the groups down to 5 people, and she's like, they don't care about our mental health. And I'm like, you know what, society during this whole thing, I had a friend, his ex-boyfriend, he committed suicide 2 days ago.
Oh geez.
It's from the pressure. I mean, he was like in his 30s, like,
Oh goodness.
like maybe 32.
Yeah.
And it's such an issue. And I just want more people to know how simple it really is to just change their minds, but they just have to decide. But then again, they won't do it if they're not ready. So I gotta wait. So
Right. I know, I would love to go and quote unquote help the world too, right? But you're right. If they're not ready, if they haven't had that that moment where there's a little bit of light that comes through that crack, unfortunately, their journey is to, vacate their human body at this time.
yeah.
And it doesn't feel right, but it is what's happening.
Yeah, because when people commit suicide, it is about them wanting to escape the pain and them not knowing that they have another option. That's the scariest thing. When people don't know that they have another option. People always think like when they are in really struggling situations that they don't have another option. There are so many options in this world.
Yes. Yeah.
So many resources.
Yeah.
But it's such a hard thing. And I mean, I hear it in songs and other things. And it's just, it's
and I think that something else, Olivia, is, we're taught to make decisions from the mind. We're taught to give so much weight to what our mind is saying to us. And you and I in the spiritual community and the community where there's awakening, we're trying to get people to recognize that there's a good and a bad in there. I shouldn't use those, words, but there's always that polarity, but we're not taught that. So we believe everything that's said up there, but most of what is said up there isn't even us. It isn't even the truth of, the true I, the connection with source I. Yeah.
Yeah. No, seriously. And that's another reason why meditation is so important. And it's something I need to do more of, but just to calm that thing that keeps talking all the time up there, it's
Yeah.
so important.
Yeah.
Now I see something else, sorry, interesting on here. It says
Yep.
mountains.
Yes.
I've lived by the beach for like 10 years or so, but in high school, and in like from the 5th grade up until like my freshman year of college, me and my family would go
Mm-hmm.
to the mountains every fall.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always felt like I could think better in the mountains. I could I could breathe better in the mountains, but
Yep.
I do want a mountain house so I can just escape
Mm.
from the world and go hiking and get lost in the woods for like a couple of weeks. Um, sometimes I really do, but I like diversity. I don't want another hurricane, so I don't think I'll live by the beach again, but I'll visit. But what does the environment mean? Because now I'm interested.
So it's a little bit of a deeper aspect of human design, but I'll give you the surface level of it. Okay. So
Okay.
really what the surface level mountains is all about, your physical body doesn't require as much oxygen. It actually requires less oxygen. So once you start moving up in the elevation, your physical body actually feels better. And like you say, there's clarity. But also now, if we were to look at this, in a little bit of a larger sense, mountaintops also mean, you're taking the high road. You don't get caught up in the gossip. It's not about, the gossipy trail that's down in the valley, everybody's doing the communication, talking, and all that's happening. It's, and I don't even like to use this word, but it's like the guru on the mountain, right? You have this channel of the prodigal, you have mountains. You're sitting up there, and it isn't about dropping down to a denser level. It's about being on that high level and that less oxygenated area so that you can help people. So it's like, I see these mountain people, you're at the top of the mountain and you reach down your hand and you help people come up. That's how I see them. Because you're playing in a realm where you're not steeped in the conversation and the communication and the gossipy stuff. You're taking the high road, you're taking the high level information and utilizing it to help people move forward. Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely, no, that makes a lot of sense because so basically it's like I asked this question yesterday actually on my Facebook. I asked, what do other 28-year-olds do? What do normal 28-year-olds do? Because your girl is not normal. And and I mean, but then again, what is normal? But I do realize like I'm not interested in celebrities. I'm not
No.
interested in the gossip, the other like those types of things.
Yes.
The all of now politically, this has been a crazy year
Yes.
for us here in America.
Yep.
It's still
It
election's
has.
still going on, you know?
Yep. Yes.
Um, so but I choose not to like I have opinions on things, but at the same time I'm like I'm not going, this is not what I'm going to be spending my time on. Can we move on, guys?
Yes.
Can we
Yes.
progress? And um
Yeah.
I find that I do remove myself, and it's not that I think I'm better, or and I don't
Mm-mm.
think that
Nope.
it's perceived to think that way either, but it's
Nope.
definitely like I have to preserve myself in my mind
Yes.
so I can give to other people, because if I'm not
Yep.
thinking clearly, if I'm not breathing right, then I
Yeah.
won't do that. So I think
That's
that
right.
makes a lot of sense to me.
Yep. And then, I'll just throw in here, you're also on the left angle cross of refinement. So your entire trajectory is to continue to refine, bring refinement. So, you have a home, you buy a home, you move into a new home, a new office, you purchase a new car, and you refine it. So you put up this, this beautiful mirror over here, or for example, your body. You refined your body. You took it from, that 220 pounds down to what you are now, this pillar of health. It's that refinement process. And as you refine yourself, what you'll notice is that you're fulfilling karma for yourself and others along the way, because you're helping them refine to be able to use their creativity and to be able to really come to that place of self-love and diversity and continue to refine. You will never be done refining. Your
Mm-mm.
whole life will be this, and it doesn't surprise me. Like, even when I look at your social media pages and your YouTube channel and your thumbnails, you look older than what you are.
I know.
You
I'm
know?
so old looking. I'm just kidding.
No,
I
but
don't
you
mean it in
have
like a
that.
bad way.
No, you have that maturity in just in the aura, because it's refinement. And when we think about refinement, we think of, older men and women that have gone through the process, and they've walked through that, and they've refined themselves over time. And that's who you are.
Yeah. I'm really a big advocate of being better than I was the day before. And one of my favorite English teachers in college, my English professor, she was like, never stop becoming. And she was a
Mm-hmm.
70 something year old woman that always aimed to be better. And her daughter is this amazing lady that I actually like served at a restaurant. It's so
Oh.
crazy how they're in my life. This is back in Florida, and I'll never forget her saying, like, never stop becoming. And that's something that when she said that, it's like, yep, that is stuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
And, just always being a better version. And it's not to say that I'm not happy with the person that I am,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
but there are things that I can improve upon, and I will.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
it's the fun of,
Mhm.
doing that gives me joy.
Yeah. Well, and just look at our physical bodies, right? That's what our physical bodies do every day. They're refining, they're refining, they're refining, right? They're taking the old junk, they get rid of it, and they build a new cell. That's what our physical bodies are doing every day. And you get to have that process on the outside as well as on the inside.
That is so cool. Okay, I want to see
Mhm.
yours. I want to
Okay.
know more about you.
So I will say this is probably the difficult aspect, talking about myself. But as a manifesting generator, or an express builder that we call, this type in the human design system, again, my aura is open and enveloping. So I am designed to wait to respond. I'm here to be the cosmic battery and just wait for people to request that energy. So what I get to do in my life every day is I get to be the contagion. I get to share this information everywhere. I get to empower people and commit myself to the correct processes so that I can really assist people in recognizing that, the universe has your back. No, nobody's here conspiring against you. The universe is conspiring for you. And when you can trust yourself and you can trust the process, the fates just stand there, and they're willing to give you this great big hug. So I get to contribute by, using my battery. Like, I can work for 20 hours a day when I love something. When there's satisfaction, like, there's no stopping this particular design. Like, I go, and I'm here to study. And I'm also here to make mistakes, make errors, correct those errors, and really just follow my gut. I'm here to educate and utilize my resources, my time, my energy to help people step into their own direction, their own identity, and to absolutely let go of the past patterns, those old mindsets that have been holding them back, so that they can step into their own purpose, so that they can be fulfilled, so they can actually have the life that they are here and deserve, instead of one that the conditioned mind is trying to tell us that we can't have. Yeah.
That is
kind
so
of a
cool.
little bit about me. Yeah.
No, that's pretty cool. I know it's kind of weird talking about yourself.
It is.
But no, I appreciate you sharing it with me, because
Mhm.
it makes sense. It's like you can help a lot of people
Yeah.
that way.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
if you're watching my channel and you would like one of these done, definitely click the link below to
Mhm.
schedule with Leann, so you can. And if you're on my podcast, of course, the link will be in there as well in the show notes below. Because it's so important to know these things about how you are and how you're working in business.
Yeah.
And the ways, I mean, you shed so much light for me through this. And I mean, there's can you go a little bit more into detail about some reflectors? Not necessarily, or like,
Let me
just because
see. I'm going to just stop the share quick. I'm going to do
okay.
that. I'm going to pull up an example chart just so that there's no names being shared here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just to give someone else a reference.
Right, hold on. So really what are reflectors, again, they are these like, cosmic mirrors for us. So I'll just bring up this one here. And now I will share my page again. So their chart looks like this. So again, I love science, and I love how science actually is the whole core of what the human design system is. So, if we were to look at creation, so there had to be, something and then an opposite of that something to create our duality. So the Big Bang Theory, whether you believe it or not, what the scientists say is, there was this tiny little minuscule speck of matter, and it was so hot, and it imploded and created this universe that we see right now. But there had to be the opposite. So the reflector really is the openness, the dark matter that's there, so that the matter could then be seen. Okay, so the reflector is actually comes right from the original creation. And what they get to do for us is they get to filter. So anytime you see a center that's undefined or open or white, these are spaces where you and I get to interact. So a reflector, they get to interact through all these spaces. They can gather so much wisdom. They can gather so much wisdom about humanity because they have all of this openness where they get to interact, they get to sample. So they walk into your aura and they sample it. And, when you ask them, they can provide you with an assessment or clarification about who and what you are based off of their sampling. Okay. So, for you and I have 5 open centers. You also have 5 open centers or undefined centers. So you and I are gathering wisdom in those spaces. Those are like the doorways to our business. This is how the client comes in, but this is also how we go out and get that wisdom. And with a reflector, they get to gather the wisdom of the whole entirety. Where you and I, we have areas where we're fixed, where, we have a fixed way. For you, it's a fixed way of thinking. It's a very empowered way of thinking. It is an individual way of thinking. So they call this channel here the genius to freak. So sometimes what comes out of your mouth is very genius. Sometimes it's like very freaky because
Yeah, I'm
you,
weird. Like I'm
yeah,
like 10%, like there's 10% I'm gonna have like some crazy stuff that comes out of my mouth. And it's just like, why did you just say that? And people that know me know that. But you know, it's
yes,
hey, you take it or leave it. Okay.
that's
I'm gonna
right.
be a person. Like
Yes. And that's the beautiful aspect, right? That's the beautiful aspect. You recognize this, you see this, you've experienced this, people have said this to you. And it's like, you know what? I can just accept it.
yeah,
That's the
I'm not
beautiful.
gonna fight it. Like there's
Yeah.
certain things that I'll just I can try to change my I'm okay. I can try to change my minds on certain things, but like infidelity and seeing other people do infidelity has been something that has been really
Mm,
hard, not in my relationship. Not that's not the
right.
case in other people's relationships, but then I'm like, you know what,
Yes.
Olivia, mind your business. Mind your
Right.
that's just what but it'll get
Right.
under my
Yeah.
skin. It'll be something that's just like, no, but then there are also those other like crazy things that I just, talk about. So
Yeah. Yeah. And what's interesting is that, so when you talk about infidelity, okay, so you have this 59 and the 27 that are hanging off the sacral center. And the sacral center is all about it's our life force. This is where we create life, okay? And the emotional center, which is the solar plex in the human design languaging. So these two centers for you are undefined, they're open. You're gaining a lot of wisdom about them. So you're gaining so much wisdom about intimacy and how to nurture and care for oneself, self-care. And when you're experiencing these things, like with infidelity on the sexual realm, how people are dishonoring themselves and their partners, that's what you're here to gain wisdom about, you know. And of course, the mind wants to get in there and get gritty and dig in there. But it's for you to feel this in your body, to know the difference in your physical body. What does intimacy feel like for you in your body? And what does self care and nourishment feel like in your body? And those people that are doing the infidelity, they're teaching you what that means. So they're playing a part, even though your mind doesn't like it. I don't appreciate it either. However, it's none of my business. Like you said, it's none of your business. But you are the one that gets to gain wisdom about it. You could probably write huge amounts of books about it
that is
because
so
you're
interesting.
gaining the wisdom.
Yeah, and I've never cheated on my husband. My husband has never cheated on me. We've been married for 5 years, but we think very similar when it comes to that specific topic. But I've had to witness so many people cheat on their spouses, and I'm just
Mm,
like, why
yeah,
would you do that? And it's just,
yeah,
I that type of trust to break. So it's yeah, I have to gain wisdom on it to understand because
hmm.
yeah.
And I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if you write blogs about it or write books about it, because that's what you're designed to do as the prodigal. Write, share it, write it down in history. That's what you're designed to do. And that's your wisdom potential right there. And what you're gaining is about self care and intimacy. What does it mean for you? And what does it mean for other people? Interviewing those people
And
that
there's a lot of different
do
things
that.
on self-care and intimacy that I actually do
Yeah.
like to talk about too. So many. I'm so big on like self-care and this
Yeah.
self-discipline is self-care. So I'm pretty
Mm-hmm.
strict. So a lot of people might not like me, but that's okay.
And it's about refining it.
hmm
So you get to refine it and refine it. That's what's so fun. Like I could talk to you for every day of your life all day long on your design because it's fun for me, right?
This is yeah, it's crazy.
And
But
that's
now,
what I
but
get
you,
to do. That's what I get to do every day.
I know, like that. And I would love to talk more about now. I know you don't do a lot of like, just tell me some of the stories that you've heard back from your clients, talking to you about like how they've like months later, years later,
Mm-hmm.
how that they've actually, given it a chance to stick to their design and just gone with it.
Yeah. 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 I have clients that like years later, I will do, an initial session for them, and they'll come back years later and they'll be like, you said this one thing and it stuck with me and I paid attention to that. And it's like, really? But when they drop into that physical body and they interact, their lives always catapult. I have seen women quit their jobs. I have seen women, start the business of their dreams. I have seen women, connect with clients that they never ever were open to connecting to. But as soon as they were, aligned to who they are, and they began to recognize their strategy, like for you, it's wait for that invitation. All of a sudden, like the world opens up, and we can see, and they have seen, and so many things happen. They find a spouse, they get into relationships that are healthy. One of the best things that I love to do is to watch how the men, so anytime I coach a man, they're like, especially if I'm doing having a couple, because women, we tend to try to fix our men. And when I can do this for a man and really get them to see their energy, they already know it deep down inside, just like you and I. But when they can get that confirmation that they're not crazy, that they don't need to be fixed, that I love. That I love. And they just give this big sigh of relief. Like just like you, I have a YouTube channel. And just today, one of the comments that a client left on there was like, this is why I do it. As it was like, whoa, like you just opened up a whole new possibility and potential. And that's why I do this.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
That is, thank you so much for sharing that, because
Mm-hmm.
it shows that you actually care about the people that you're working with.
Mm-hmm.
You're actually helping them. You're doing
Mm-hmm.
things to change to help them live their lives.
Yes.
And it's not something that's like a quick fix. No,
Nope.
this is something that they're coming to you years later
Yes.
and
Yep.
telling you.
Yep.
And that's powerful.
It is very powerful. It's very powerful. One of the things that people have said to me is like, it's a no nonsense. When you come to me, I don't sugarcoat it. I provide you with what it is, but on the opposite side, I don't babysit you. So if you're looking for somebody to, pat you on the bum and try to keep you going in this, that you're looking down the wrong lens, because that's not what I do. I don't babysit people. I empower people. And that empowerment takes them to places that they never thought were possible.
And empowerment is such a different thing that people undermine
Yeah.
so much. They don't
Yeah.
realize how, it's just like leading a horse to water, but you can't make
Yes.
him drink.
Yep.
You can
Yep.
give a man a fish for a day, or you can teach him how to fish. You're all about teaching them how to fish,
Yes.
because it's like they have to, this is their design. They got to do it for
Totally.
themselves.
Yep.
Like you can let them know this is what you are.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna get there or not. Yeah, no.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
I like your no nonsense approach. I really appreciate those types of people.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can tell you're the same. It's in order for us to be, to be ourselves, we can't make excuses. We can't be victims. And we have to actually honor what we came here to do and not try to force ourselves into society's box. And that's what you also get to do when you're doing mindset coaching.
Yeah.
You know?
This is
Yeah.
so cool. This is so
Mhm.
cool. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on and spending this time with me and my viewers and showing them so much about design. And
Mhm.
like I said
Yeah.
before, if there's any questions, feel free to follow her channel and click the link below to actually get a session with her to figure out your human design, because we all have one.
Yeah. 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 Awesome.
All right,
Thanks,
well, thank
Olivia. And as well, um, this is going to be on my YouTube channel. So your links are also going to be here. So if anybody wants to connect with Olivia and have a projector, provide advice, and have someone who will listen and assist, the same goes back. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.